The desert seemed endless, a sea of hot sand under an eternally still sky. In the center of this dry and inhospitable landscape, a small blue bird remained still, like a drop of forgotten color in a faded world. Its wings, once a symbol of freedom, were now glued to its body by dust and fatigue. The dull plumage no longer hid the brightness of what had once been life and hope. Its half-closed eyes no longer sought the horizon. They simply endured the present. The heat was unbearable, but no, more so than the silence, that kind of silence that hurts like absence and echoes like a swallowed scream. It wasn't the first time he had found himself there, but it was the first time he didn't have the strength to try to leave. It was as if his entire past had disappeared, leaving only one now too heavy to be carried. The footprints around him, almost erased by the wind, betrayed his attempts to escape. But now, without strength and without faith, he could only endure. And even in the midst of the vastness of the desert, the strongest feeling was that of being trapped, not physically but inside, in a labyrinth of unanswered questions and nameless pains. He had already tried to fly more than once. He gathered what energy he had left, stretched his trembling wings, and launched himself into the sky as if begging for a miracle. And for a brief moment, it even seemed like he would succeed. But something kept pulling him back. It wasn't the weight of his body, but the weight of something he couldn't name. A treacherous wind always surprised him halfway, pushing him back to the same point he had started from. It was as if the desert had invisible hands, claws that held him in a cycle of exhaustion and frustration. Each attempt became more difficult, more hopeless, and with time, the attempts stopped. He began to accept that this place, that heat, that emptiness, was his new home, not by choice, but by lack of options. His soul, which had once dreamed of long flights and cozy nests, was now like his wings, folded, silent, worn out, and deep down, a question formed with the bitterness of the dust in his dry throat. Was this his destiny? To stay forever in the same place, trying to escape from something that always brings him back? That day, after yet another failed attempt to fly and an awkward landing on the scorching sand, he murmured something. It was not a song, nor a cry, just a whisper. Why God? Why this desert? Why this loneliness? His voice was so weak that it barely disturbed the dry air around him, but it was all he had left. A simple, almost childish request. He did not want greatness. He did not seek temples or coronations. He just wanted a nest, a bit of shade, a sky that did not burn so much. He wanted to love and be loved, to build something with his own feathers, but there all he found was dust, thorns, and the echo of silence. He felt invisible, as if not even God remembered his existence, and that hurt more than any sun, more than any thirst. The lack of response was a scream that pierced his chest. It was the kind of pain that you don't cry out loud, but that trickles down inside slowly as you lose faith that someone, somewhere, is still listening. Then he fell. He didn't stumble. He didn't slip. He just gave in, like a leaf that stops resisting the wind and lets itself be carried away. His body, overcome by heat and sadness, fell onto the hot sand, its wings spread as if begging for help or surrender. But there was no one to see. There were no eyes, ears, hands, only the sky, still and too blue to feel compassion. The bird cried, not with tears, because he didn't even have those left. He cried with his whole body, with his whole soul, with the silence that filled every corner of his being. And there he remained, motionless, embraced by the sand that burned and at the same time welcomed him. Time seemed to have stopped with him. The sun began to set, dyeing the sky with orange tones that at other times could have been beautiful. But now they were just another useless change. He closed his eyes. He didn't want to see anymore, or try, or wait. And for the first time, he simply wished he wasn't there anymore. It was the end of his strength, but also the beginning of something he didn't yet know. It was then that In the deep silence of his unconsciousness, something changed. Not around him, because the desert remained deserted, but inside him. A gentle breeze touched his dirty feathers, with the lightness of a forgotten affection, and in that instant his mind took him to another place. He found himself floating in a white sky, soft as cotton, enveloped by clouds that looked more like veils of peace. It was as if he were being carried, not by wings, but by something greater, more loving. And there before him appeared a figure made of light, not blinding but welcoming. It was an angel, perhaps, or perhaps it was just pure memory, transformed into vision. The being said nothing with its mouth, but spoke with its presence. Its eyes shone with compassion, and its wings emitted a